So in my last video, I talked about how God doesn't want us to disrespect him with idols. And, one of the things I talked about in the video is that idols is a disrespectful thing towards God. How when we praise idols and we give our time to idols, these things don't do anything for me. And actually, one of the comments, and I'm going to respond to one of the comments, it says, can you make a part 2 of how to not put things above God? It's good that you caught it out, but how do you get out of it, right? How to not put things above God. You got to put, how do you truly put things not above God, right? How can you truly and make sure that God is the number one in your life? And I'm going to actually tell you some verses that's going to kind of lead into this video, right? Colossians chapter 3, verse 2, it says, set your minds on things that are above, not on things that are on earth, right? Romans chapter 8, verse 6, to set the mind on the spirit is life and peace. Matthew 6, verse 33 says, seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be added to you. Philippians 3, verse 21, strive for the things above, where Christ is seated at the right hand of God. And Ephesians chapter 2, verse 5 through 6, which says, put on love, which is the bond of perfection. Set your minds on things that are above. So one of the things I'm going to talk about is how can you make sure God is a priority? So the thing about God is he wants to be number one in your life. But guess what? God can't make that decision for you. He's going to try to, he's not going to actually try to be number one in your life. He's going to assert his dominance in a way, but he's not going to force you to place him number one. So for instance, right? Say you're going to your job, right? You should be reading your Bible in the morning, but you scrolling on TikTok and you need to be going to work in about an hour, 2 hours, right? So number one, you should not be scrolling, number one. Number two, you should be reading your word, because if he was number one in your life, you'd be praying to him in the morning and you'd be reading your word in the morning, right? Priorities. You have to realize your priorities. I'm going to respond actually to one of my comments, right, where he was talking about his ex-girlfriend and how they needed space and all this stuff like that. And how my subscriber, he didn't believe that, them having space would help them get closer to God. And I'm here to let you know, look, bro, it's actually not that bad that y'all had space. Now, you can look at it as a bad thing because maybe y'all are growing apart or whatever the case may be. But if both of y'all were growing in God apart, maybe y'all can come back together. It's only like you said in your comment, God willing, Lord willing, that he brings y'all back together. But if not, that is fine, because everything is not meant for you to last forever. Nothing lasts forever, right? There's times and seasons for different things. Now, if you are single and you see nothing, keep staying in that singleness and keep staying in that season, right? Until God has said otherwise. Because my thing is, and something I'm going through personally is, the single season, right? You stay single, you don't know if you should be single, and you talk to God about it. And God hasn't allowed anything to work out for you or in your favor. So one thing I realize is, look, Lord, you know me better than I know myself. I have to learn discipline, because love is patient, love is kind. I have to be in this place to where I'm patient and I trust God. And I trust God truly that he's going to give me the desires of, my heart, right? Do not lean on your own understanding, right? I lean on God's understanding, realizing that, yes, I need to set my things above on heaven, to spiritual things, to things that are going to give me spiritual, gratitude, peace, love, everything that is of God. Now, how can you truly place God in your life when you have everything that's coming after you? Make him a priority, right? Simply pray, simply read, simply make it a priority to actually want to talk to God, to actually be in his presence. You have to make the decision. It sounds cliche and it sounds like overboard, but you have to make the decision. God cannot make the decision for you. Nobody can make the decision for you. People may tell you that, look, bro, you need to, you need to make him a priority, but you have to make the decision. The only way you can make the decision is if you self-reflect and check your heart. That's the only thing you can do. And another thing you can do is making sure you are setting godly principles above moral and earthly principles. Making sure that you are reading your word consistently. Making sure you are doing and leaning on God's understanding, leaning on his commandments, leaning on what he says in his word, and not leaning on your own desires and leaning on your own understanding, right? Do not lead. Bro, without the word, you have no light for your path, right? The word is a light for our feet. God is him. God is the one we need. And we have to realize if we are putting things above God, Another thing, like I said in the last video, idols. If we were putting idols and idolatry above God, if we were putting these symbols, we were putting objects, we were putting people above God, that's our problem right there. Priorities. Not realizing what God has done for us, what Jesus has done for us. Priorities, my brother, priorities. But I hope you learned something in this video. I hope I helped you out in the comments, bro. I hope I hope I did something to bless you. I said something that will bless you, and you'll take it and you'll execute it. But as always, every single one of y'all, stay blessed.